Hi, Genevieve Jacobs from Region Media with this week's news update. And this week for our focus, we're looking at business, the help that's available now during lockdown and the path out of lockdown here in the ACT. Now, this is the start of an attempt by us to really help you examine these questions from the perspective of your own business. If you've got queries, if you've got concerns, if you've got matters that you'd like given an airing, we'd really like to hear from you. We're going to have a series of articles running from this week onwards. If you'd like to email us, you can do so at editor@region.com.au, editor@region.com.au. But to kick us off this week, I'm talking to the COVID Small Business Commissioner, Brendan Smith, and also to Senior Manager from the RSM accountancy firm, Young Han. Welcome to you both. Great to have you along. And Brendan Smith, I'm going to go to you first for the big picture. Can you talk to us about the government's COVID business response thus far and the particular role that the Small Business Commissioner is playing?
Thanks, Genevieve. It's a pleasure to be here. Look, the government understands what's going on out there. They're listening to people. There's a number of forums where business can air their concerns, but specifically they've put back in place the local business commissioner, yours truly, and my job there is to help any business navigate their way through the various arms of the ACT government, whether you need to be in touch with Treasury or with economic development, whether you want to seek help with mental wellbeing. We're there to help and can be contacted either by email on lbc@act.gov.au or called on 62071585.
Now, can you give us a sense of how the government's responded thus far over the last couple of weeks, bearing in mind, of course, that we're still in lockdown as this is being recorded? There's no sign of that to end just yet, but what kind of stance has the government taken in responding to business and to small business in particular?
Well, I think the path out of lockdown, the roadmap out of lockdown is paved on the vaccination road. And as the Chief Minister has been saying consistently at his press conferences daily, it is about vaccination rates and it is about getting those rates up to 80% and beyond. So the first thing all of us can do in the business community is make sure that we are, that our staff are, that their families and their customers are vaccinated so we can have the path out. And that is consistent with the national plan, but that's certainly what the Chief Minister has been saying and I suspect will continue to say. My role is to listen to business and to feed that back into the various arms of government, their concerns, what they would like, answer their questions. And, so far we've talked from everywhere, from the dog grooming industry to the bridal gown part of the retail sector. And every industry and every business is different. They are unique. They have different needs. And we're there to listen and to help.
So, Young Han, I'll go to you because obviously, as Brendan's just saying there are many businesses with many, many different issues that they need to navigate their way through. I wonder if you could start by talking to me about micro businesses in particular and what micro businesses are, what the measures are that are available to help them at this stage.
So at the moment, I think ACT grant actually exclude any businesses didn't have a turnover more than 75,000. So if you do just started, a lot of those sole traders, they actually fall into this category. And therefore, they don't have anything else apart from the disaster payment, which is the $750 per week.
Okay, so that's obviously complex. We know that construction is going back to work and the first stage of that was the large site construction, commercial construction. We're now back to residential construction. This is going to be fairly problematic for a lot of people who are subcontractors, for example, won't it?
That's right. But if they do have more than $75,000 of turnover, they can get the grant. But it's really hurting businesses that doesn't have that enough turnover.
Mm-hmm. Young Han, what's the best place to find out about the rule changes? Where do we go to for information about how to navigate this if you're uncertain about where you sit?
So with the ACT government has the business hub, which they regularly update the grant amount and also how they apply for it. Because obviously if we get extended with the lockdown, then obviously there has to be other changes to be made as well. If you are in a situation where you're a bit tricky and not sure what to get, then you can always contact your accountant to get help.
And of course, we've got the COVID-19 ACT government website. Back to you, Brendan Smith. There are a multitude of resources available, and Young Han's just mentioned the ACT Business Hub, the COVID-19 business website. It's a complex one to navigate, though, isn't it?
Well, look, it's complex simply because people's needs are complex. I think the place people should immediately go to is act.gov.au/business. And if you're not finding what you need there, then certainly go to the Access Canberra Business Liaison line, and that's 6205 0900. And if they can't answer your questions, I'm sure that they can, but if they can't, ring my office, and we will certainly try and get answers for people. The problem is, as Jung said, the complexity of this is enormous. And indeed, even in some industries, we're finding, for instance, in the dog grooming industry, the mobile operators are entirely different from those that are in a fixed premises. So it is difficult, but the government has done a great deal of work. Most people's questions will be answered on the website. If not, Access Canberra or ring my office.
Okay, so multiple sources of help, multiple sources from the government, but also from your accountant, whom you might like to ask whether you're eligible for various grants, what measures apply to you. So lots of ways to get help. Please continue coming to us. We'll endeavour to address some of those questions every week from here on in. And also making news on the site this week, many other stories that are not COVID related in the least, including a $20 million Powerball win in Belconnen, and the young couple who were very pleased that they picked the phone up when it rang persistently one night. And they thought, we'll ignore it, it's 9 o'clock, who could it be? Well, it was the lotteries. We'll also be talking about whether Canberra's horse paddocks can sustain the development pressure. Ian Bushnell's written a piece about whether the horse paddocks that dot the whole of Canberra, I think it's said that no Canberran is more than about 10 minutes from a horse paddock, can survive as the city's growth intensifies. We've also got news for you about the space station passing over Canberra. This is a subject of such perennial fascination. People love the space station. And on a much smaller scale, we've also taken a look at Canberra's latest bus shelters. One's made of cardboard, and you're so welcome to draw all over them. This is just a lovely little initiative. All that and more on the Riot Act. And we're with you every week in your inbox through an email newsletter if you want to sign up and join in our great big Canberra conversation. We've also got a daily digest, so hop in, get chatting, and if you are in business and you've got questions that you'd like us to put to the experts, editor@region.com.au. Brendan Smith and Young Han, thank you so much for making the time for us today. It's been great to have your company, and plenty more news coming as we chart a path out of this COVID lockdown.
Thank you, Genevieve.
I'm Genevieve Jacobs, and this is Region Media.